DAB Digital Radio.
This is Leica Radio.
Sky News Centre at 9. The Prime Minister says getting children back to school is a national priority. Boris Johnson's written in the Mail on Sunday saying we have a moral duty to get classrooms open. Downing Street says if there are further local lockdowns, the PM expects schools to be the last to close, with shops, pubs and restaurants shutting first. Mark Lehane, Director of Parents and Teachers for Excellence, says it's right that education is put first.
If that means other parts of society have to ease back what they do, if we have to close other parts, then that's only right, because it's important that kids get back to school because they've paid the heaviest price so far.
The Home Secretary has appointed a new security official to tackle the flow of migrants across the English Channel. The government's under pressure to act after a record number of people made the crossing in the last few days. Protesters have stormed government buildings and clashed with security forces during trouble in Beirut. One police officer died in the violence, which followed Tuesday's massive explosion in the city. The blast killed 158 people. This demonstrator explains why she got involved.
Our government did not deploy one soldier or one policeman to help us to remove the bodies from under the rubble. Did not help us for 5 days, not remove one old woman from any building.
An international aid conference co-hosted by the French President and the United Nations Secretary General is being held today. In sports, Chelsea's long season's finally come to an end after being dumped after the Champions League by Bayern Munich in a last 16 tie which started in March. They lost 7-1 on aggregate, beaten 4-1 in the second leg. Elsewhere, Hibs are 2 wins from 2 in the Scottish Premiership following a 4-1 victory at Livingston. English trio Paul Casey, Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose are all in contention to win golf's US PGA Championship heading into the final day. And Simon Cowell needs surgery on a broken back. He hurt it while testing his new electric bicycle at his home in California. Said to be doing well in hospital. That's the latest. I'm Kevin Gover.
What would the world be like if we listened more? At Honda, our ears are always open to new ideas. Oh, there's one now, knocking on our eardrum. What's that? What if we made a car with cameras instead of wing mirrors? A robot mower that knows when it's time to cut the grass. A self-balancing motorcycle. And what if by 2022, all of our mainstream cars were hybrid or electric? Great idea. Thanks, ears. Honda, the power of dreams.
Leica Radio. Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Good morning and welcome to Talking Points with me, Keith Vaz, on Leica Radio 1458. Thank you for joining me today, Sunday the 9th of August 2020. Yesterday was the 71st anniversary of the founding of the Quit India movement launched by Mahatma Gandhi in Mumbai, calling for the British to leave India. And who would have thought of it? 7 decades later, the great Mahatma's face is to be put on our currency. Listeners, you just have to wait long enough. Good news, Big B is out of hospital and quarantining at home. Be safe, Amitabh. My thanks to Pooja, the granddaughter of A.P. Patel, for baking some beautiful sugarless cupcakes. Our thoughts and prayers this week are with the people of Beirut as they come to terms with the catastrophe that they have faced. We all hope that the international community will respond positively in order to help the people of this stricken city. Our songs of this week have been chosen by Chanda V.S., who plays multiple roles as a mother, daughter, wife, grandmother, neighbour and feminist. 11 years ago, she officially became the UK's first Hindu woman priest, so she is a glass ceiling breaker. Good morning, Chanda.
Good morning, Keith.
Now, what songs have you got for us this week?
The first song is Jyota Se Jyota Jagate Chalo from the film Sant Ganeshwar. And this song I would like to dedicate it for the world peace.
And what about your second song?
My second song is from the film Satyam Shivam Sundaram. And this song I would like to dedicate it to my daughter Rupali. She's celebrating her 40th birthday. My son-in-law, Dr. Vipin Sitaho, who for his 40th birthday, and who finished his MBA. Same time, I would like to dedicate this song to my family, friends, and my sister-in-law, Jyoti Mehta, who is celebrating her 60th wedding anniversary in Toronto.
That's wonderful. So a double celebration. Thank you so much for joining us, Chanda. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you, kids.
On the programme, I will be talking to a woman who started her career in banking as a cashier and ended up as a director of one of the largest banks in the UK. We will also be hearing from a top immigration barrister from Hertfordshire about the immigration backlog, which now numbers about 3,000, and to a vet from St Albans about the joy for our pets of having us at home and now the possibility that they might go into depression as we go back to work. Please stay tuned. This is Keith Faz on Leica Radio 1458.
Leica Radio.
My special guest today is Kamal Hoti, who has been breaking glass ceilings in the banking world for over 4 decades, from cashier to director, strategist and architect of numerous programs and initiatives that have changed the shape of the banking industry. She was the first female manager at Lloyds. She then became the director of Asian strategy for the entire Lloyds Bank Group. Lloyds Bank is the largest retail bank in Britain, with 16 million customers and small business accounts, assets of 436 billion and a net income of 16 billion a year. She has led numerous programs, redesigning a number of those programs, working with charities. She now acts as a trustee and advisor to the Alzheimer's Society, Teenage Cancer Trust and the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, as well as being a non-executive director for businesses including TLC Lions. Kamal Hoti joins me from Langley in Slough this morning. Good morning, Kamal.
Good morning, Keith. Thank you so much for inviting me today.
It's a pleasure. What do you remember about your early life? I assume it was a pretty happy childhood.
I think it was split into 2 halves. So I was actually born in India, in Punjab, where I grew up until the age of 6. So my parents were the survivors of the partition of India, Pakistan, and unfortunately on the wrong side of the fence. And from there, Dad decided when Britain was asking the Commonwealth to come and help build Britain, we decided to come here in the UK. Unfortunately, landed in the 60s. You may recall a lot of racism, and in fact, very similar to what would like Black Lives Matter now. But it was a difficult time, but it was fairly just trying to adapt and survive, I think, at that time.
And Mum and Dad, did they come over with you at the same time, or like other families, Dad came first and then Mum and the family came afterwards?
Yes, that's right. So my dad and my sister actually came first, and then I'm the youngest of 6, and Mum came along with the 5 of us afterwards in tow. And we're Sikhs, which added more complications. So wearing turbans wasn't quite the norm. So Dad decided to, with my brothers, remove the turbans and cut their hair in order to integrate into society. And that was a very big lesson for us all, which was keep your head down, don't make a noise and don't make trouble, and so that we can just integrate.
So you went to school in Britain, of course, and college, and then you ended up in a career in banking. How on earth did you get there?
Well, to be honest, Keith, I didn't go into college because Dad, he was a civil engineer in India and actually built one of the biggest dams in India and was recognised by Nehru himself. But coming here, only found a job in the factory like most of us did at that time. So he wouldn't allow us to go on further education. But look, if you want to work, you can work in the factories with the other aunties. But my brother above me, he managed to convince my father and say, look, she's got some good O-levels, let her at least get an office job. And he bought me all of these applications, and one of them happened to be a role in the bank as a cashier at TSB.
And that's where you started, literally, as a cashier, meeting lots and lots of different people. Was it tough at that stage for an Asian woman in banking? Obviously, you've reached the very top of banking, but in those early days, how difficult was it?
If I wanted to stay as a cashier, I think it would have been okay because I could speak several languages, so I became quite popular in the community. So people heard that there was this little Indian girl who could speak and help them. But as I grew up, worked harder and harder. It took me a lot of time, but I was determined, and I really loved the job actually eventually. And so I started doing my banking exams at night time at home, and I'm proud to say it took us longer than it normally would nowadays, but ended up being the first Asian bank manager. But they appointed me in a branch called Walton-on-Thames, which, if you know Walton-on-Thames, the most upper class British area. You could put somebody like me, so it wasn't easy. That was quite tough, but it Just built my resilience, let's put it this way, to win my customers over.
And how did the customers, how do they relate to you? Were you the only Asian woman in Walton-on-Thames?
Absolutely. Well, it's the first Asian woman and an Asian bank manager. And so when I was, when the customers say, when I speak to the bank manager and I'd come out, they would literally look at me from head to toe and thinking that I couldn't understand English, so they'd just speak slower. Can I speak to the bank manager? Yes, can I help you? So, yes, I've got some amusing stories. But one thing I found very early on about myself, I like to be liked. I know it's a bit of a weakness. And I just kept on digging away, determined to win the customers over. I assume that just built my resilience to continue further.
Sure. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 talking to Kamal Hoti about her incredible career in banking. We're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and talk to her about how she climbed that corporate ladder.
This is Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. I'm talking to Kamal Hoti, who has got an amazing story to tell about her career in banking, from cashier to a director of one of the largest banks in Britain, if not the world. Kamal, you got to be the manager in Walton-on-Thames. Then how did you move forward and progress from there to the directorship of the Asian strategy for the group? How tough was it?
I think so. I carried from being the bank manager. I was promoted quite quickly on to running about 160 branches in the southeast, and I loved it. It was my little empire. And then we had a huge merger when Lloyds and TSB merged, which was one of the longest merger that took place. Took us about 6 years, and it required a lot of processes being taken out of the branches, new computer systems, and unfortunately we probably took our eye off the ball, and complaints went through the roof. So I like collaborating, try to get to root causes of problems. So I started an initiative called Working Together Smarter to understand what the issues were, and slowly my area started getting better, and that was recognized recognised by, I call him my hero. So Paul Baker, he's the executive of Group Operations, who saw the stats and basically came out and talked to me and see what I was doing. And shortly afterwards, unfortunately, I was being made redundant, and he'd left me his calling card. So I gave Paul a call and I said, look, they're offering me these jobs I don't really want. And he said, no, I remember you. Look, get on a train, come to London, and let's roll this initiative out right across the whole bank. So that was my introduction into the head office environment at that time.
And the programme, the 250th anniversary programme, the purpose of that particular initiative was to try and get people to volunteer, was it, to use those skills in volunteering?
Well, to be honest, Keith, that came a little while. So we marked our 250th anniversary in 2015, and that was after the banking crisis. So as a bank, we'd been asked to rescue another bank that took us down with it, and now we had to be rescued by the government, so we were nearly 80% owned. And then the anniversary came around, and I was asked to stay on to support the bank in winning trust of customers and pride of colleagues. And so when the birthday came, they said, well, Kamal, can you lead this as well? And for me, you know, it was an environment that banking was quite toxic. Customers were quite negative about, you know, so you didn't want to go out there and mark a birthday that was all about us. So instead, we did a collaborative, sought questions, what would this birthday look like? And so we've been around for 250 years. So I made it around about Britain and the role that we played over those 250 years. And so ended up writing a book with Ruth Goodman, the BBC historian. And so did you know we were the first bank to fund the railway system or the lighting system? And so through those decades, we found the role that we played. We were founded in Birmingham by Quakers. And slowly in that year, colleagues started getting really proud of our brand. And then included in that, we did some great initiatives, volunteering opportunities and charity partnerships with BBC Children in Need. And that collectively really engaged our staff. And I would say it became one of the most successful campaigns. We changed our adverts, reintroduced the Black Horse into our adverts, which I'm delighted about, which sort of, being by your side. Again, it wasn't about our products, it was more about the community. And that, I'm really proud of what we delivered there.
But you were, in a sense, a first from the bank to the Asian community. You attended numerous functions, practically any function that was going on. Kamal Hoti had to be there. If it was a dinner, if it was some kind of community event, it was Diwali, Baisakhi, Eid, you were always there. Was this a conscious decision on the part of the bank to actually do marketing in the Asian community? Because we'd not seen that before.
No, so if I work backwards a bit before, I ever got invited to leading 250th. So when I was landed at the head office, it was a very white, male-dominated platform. There was hardly anybody that looked like me, and hardly any ethnic minorities at that time. So we founded the first ever ethnic minority network and women's network, and it was during one of those events that I was speaking out about why diversity mattered. And there was somebody there from the government who said, look, Kamal, we're thinking of bidding for the Olympic Games in about 10 years' time, but we need to improve our supplier diversity across procurement. Could you lead this? So I led that as a voluntary role, and 18 months later, it really shaped the way that the government procured contract. But what it did for me, Keith, it really increased my confidence. And that's when the idea stemmed from. I'm married to an entrepreneur who's constantly saying access to finance was difficult, and being the biggest bank and your relationship managers don't really understand us. They look down on us. You haven't got the products. You don't know how to communicate. We were putting adverts on ZTV in the middle of the afternoon trying to reach the business person. But my mother-in-law was watching it, not my husband. So basically, I researched how big the market was, presented it to the board. They really liked it. And that they gave me 6 months to design a strategy. If it wasn't successful, I would lose my job. I took on the risk. So I designed my own cultural training courses, new product, new communication styles. And that's where the award ceremonies, I wanted to demonstrate the beautiful, wonderful contribution our community was making to the bottom line. So we designed the Asian Dual Awards, the Asian Women of Achievement Awards. And that's where the strategy started. And that's where you saw me going around trying to really help my colleagues to network with the community, at the same time win business, but also give, win-win for the community as well.
This is Keith Vaz talking to Kamal Hoti, our banking glass ceiling breaker. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and continue to talk about the Olympics and the access of finance to the Asian community.
Leica Radio.
Hello?
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 Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Where are you? What are you? where are you?
I'm here.
My gosh, do you know for only £4 per month you can get the Rocket IO Pro 3D Android smartphone and free earbuds? Get it now, then I'll be able to hear you.
Oh, I heard about the Rocket IO 3D Android smartphone and free earbuds for £2 a month as well. Let's visit eshop.lycamobile.co.uk/radio.
Do it now.
Offer ends 31st of August.
I'll be able to hear you then.
बॉयलर को लेके कंफ्यूजन? न्यूमैन हीटिंग की धमाकेदार ऑफर याद रखिए। बूस्टर कॉम्बी 2000 सीरियल 30 किलोवाट इंक्लूडिंग मैग्नेट क्लियर वायरलेस रूम स्टैंड सप्लाई एंड फिटिंग फ्रॉम एक्सपर्ट गेस्ट रजिस्टर ओनली फ्रॉम £1,650. Call now 0203 667 3806. That's 0203 667 3806.
You can increase your chances of passing your driving test by taking driving lessons and a mock driving test arranged by mockdrivingtest.com. They will support you through all stages of getting a driving licence. So if you're a student looking for quick success or an ADI looking for more business, then log on to mockdrivingtest.com now.
Let's get back to the way we were, to fun, to the cinema, to gigs and galleries, the gym, the thrill of a stadium, to being with each other, to the things we love.
Testing is free, quick and vital to stop the spread of coronavirus. So let's get tested and get back to the things we love. If you're feeling unwell, get a free test now. Call 119 or go to nhs.uk.
Lockdown is finishing and businesses are reopening now. During lockdown, people started to listen to radio more. Radio is the best way to let your customers know that you are open again. To win customers back is challenging, but radio can help. Call Leica Media sales team on 0207 132 1458 to make your customers aware that you are open again.
This is Leica Radio.
Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. I'm talking to Kamal Hoti, who has broken many glass ceilings in the banking industry. Kamal, you mentioned the Olympics and your involvement in that, and what a rewarding experience it was. It's still, I suppose, in our lifetime, one of the great events that took place. It must be very special to you having had such an important role in the Olympics.
Yes, Keith. I mean, on a number of fronts. First of all, as I said, working with the government in improving their supply diversity, allowing small businesses to participate. So when UK did the pitch for the Olympics, that was one of the core elements, that they would allow a lot of diversity. And I'm proud to say our bank then became the headline sponsor for the Games, and we helped build the platform to give that access to the small businesses so they can actually apply for contract. We also then took over the volunteering side of the Olympic Games, which is where, I'm so proud of my colleagues on the support and management of that.
You talked about access to finance and how difficult it was for BAME communities to get the money that they need. Do you think that has now changed? Do you think when a budding ethnic minority entrepreneur walks into a Lloyds Bank, a branch, or a branch of any other bank on the high street, they will now be treated quite differently, bearing in mind the achievements of the Asian community in banking?
I think we've come quite a long way, and certainly I would say these institutions are much better in understanding diverse communities. So certainly they're trying to mirror the branch staff to the communities they serve. They've certainly got much more products that are actually, whether it be Shrai products for the community. But I still think while there's generational divide in our own community, so we've still got the previous generation and my generation still, the way that we operate is different with extended families and how that money is pooled together. So that does cause still a bit of a challenge when it comes to filling in the forms with the banks. But I think now as we move, slowly hand over those batons to our children who are much more Western in their style of finances, hopefully it will get smoother as we go along.
Now, you were given an OBE by Her Majesty the Queen for your outstanding work on diversity. Was it a surprise to you? And can you remember the day when you received your honour? What kind of day was it?
First of all, yes, it was a total surprise. I remember opening up the letter and it was just one of those fake news because you know more than I do. These things take like a couple of years for research. You haven't got any clue that somebody's nominated and they're doing research behind your back. Yes, it was my eldest son who picked up the letter, and he's 33, 6'2", running around, absolutely thrilled. So it's quite, in that way, the penny sort of started dropping. But arriving at Buckingham Palace with my sons and my husband, and it still felt all surreal, to be honest, Keith. And you know me, I don't really like accolade or being in the limelight, but certainly when I stepped forward and they were sitting there in the front line and I saw my sons quite emotional, yes, it's a day that I won't forget, because I felt it was for them rather than me. We collectively as a family had come a long way. So, yeah, it was a very special day.
Well, you deserved it. And it's nice that the woman who started awards for others, like the Asian Achievers Awards, got an award given to her for the amazing work that she did on diversity. Before we leave the Lloyds bit of your life, I have to ask you this question. Do we ever know what the name of the black horse is? And presumably it's not the same black horse that appeared during the first advert. This is a different black horse, isn't it?
Actually, we've got 4 black horses, and I had the privilege of meeting one when I was doing the Asian strategy.
Really? What was the name of the black horse that you met?
Zankara. So unfortunately, I believe he passed away recently, but certainly the other 3, they're nurtured, we look after them, we pay for them, and so we had 4. I'm not sure quite now where the state is, but I'm so delighted that the horse is back in our videos.
Yeah, it's a big brand, isn't it? It's a big brand icon,
very
the black
strong,
horse.
Yeah.
This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 talking to Kamal Hoti, and we will renew our conversation after the break. After I finish speaking to Kamal, we will be talking to Nisham Paramjyothi, a top immigration lawyer, about the backlogs in the immigration tribunals, and Reena Patel, a vet of over 15 years' experience, who will be giving us tips as to how to cope with our pets after lockdown.
जीवन जो तुजागर है सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम सुंदरम
Leica Radio. Leica
Radio.
Leica Radio. Travel update.
I'm Claire Sharp. The M1 is very slow northbound from junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead, headed towards 9 at Redbourne. That's because of an accident. One lane remains closed. In Notting Hill at Holland Park roundabout, 3 lanes are closed on the eastbound side. That's because of an accident causing delays to build up on all of the approaches. And outside Stepney Green Station, the A11 has a lane closed, headed out of town because of the emergency repairs. On the trains, London North Western running replacement buses between Wembley Stadium and Euston because of the overrunning engineering works. That's also causing cancellations for London North Western and also affecting Avanti West Coast. On the Tube, the District Line, there's minor delays between Earls Court and Wimbledon, and the Circle Line isn't running today because of the engineering works. That's the latest traffic and travel.
Leica Radio.
The Mercedes-Benz A-Class is now available as a plug-in hybrid. It's every bit as exciting as the A-Class you know. Same sporty design, cutting-edge technology and widescreen digital display. But with one big difference. It now has an electric motor for shorter trips and the efficiency of intelligent hybrid driving modes to go even further. That means cheaper running costs than petrol or diesel alone and a lower road tax. Search Mercedes-Benz A-Class plug-in hybrid to find out more.
Leica Radio.
Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. I'm talking to our banking icon, Kamal Hoti, about her extraordinary life that took her from being a cashier in Walton-upon-Thames right into the centre of the city, and indeed into royalty, not just with her OBE, but also with her charitable works. Because Kamal, as well as being an ambassador and advisor to the Alzheimer's Society, which is a cause that's always been very important to you, you're also involved with the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, and you had the pleasure of meeting both Harry and Meghan. Tell me about these charitable roles, starting with the Queen's Commonwealth Trust. Why do you do work for them?
Thank you. So the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, so this is a foundation Her Majesty starts, like she did one for her Silver Jubilee, her Golden Jubilee, and then sort of like the final one, she wanted this to be the trust for youth of the Commonwealth. So the opportunity here is the individuals in these countries, 53 countries around the world, they take ownership to find their own solutions. So we provide grants, we provide mentoring, we provide local insight and connections in order for these young minds to take lead. And I'm very delighted and proud to be supporting them on. So what does that collaboration look like, and as an advisor to the foundation.
And you met Harry and Meghan. What was that like?
So Harry's our patron, and, you know, he's so passionate about supporting young people and knows very, very knowledgeable about the charity. So you've seen him on the news last year when he was in Africa. So that's one of our charities that he's out there supporting. So very personal, very connected to the charity, goes out his way to always support us. Meghan, kindly, I met her on International Women's Day when she did a panel for us alongside some of our grantees and was there as an advocate. So again, passionate driver for change for women.
Now, as well as the other aspects of your life, following your retirement from Lloyds, you're also a non-executive director of TLC Lion. What does that involve?
So TLC Lions was formed 2 years ago by a young man named Gyan Power, who used to work for PwC, and unfortunately following the murder of his father in 2015, he decided to leave the financial world and started TLC Lions. So what we basically do is go into corporate to really challenge them on their inclusion, their well-being, their leadership culture, but we do it through storytelling. So I'm very proud to say we've now got about 25 individuals that look like you and me, but have come through trauma in their life and come out the other end. And those life lessons that I then help coach and then help deliver in those companies to really awaken emotion, but also challenge them on their thinking and increase empathy and inclusion. Really proud. We've got about 180 companies now on board. And then every quarter we invite about 30 of them into Westminster to collaborate and really try to shift the dial on inclusion for everyone.
Now, you've got and you've had untraditional life, a career that is, in a real sense, a pioneering career for Asian women in particular. But you live in a very traditional house, 4 generations of your family living under one roof. You're now a grandmother. So there's been no problem, has there, meeting other members of the family during lockdown because they're all there. Who's living in this incredible house?
Yeah, so it's been 38 years. I had an arranged marriage, so I've always cared for my in-laws. My mother-in-law, unfortunately, unfortunately just passed away. So she was there of Dad Kaur, my husband Swaran, my sons Inder and Charan, and their lovely wives Priya and Parmi. And I've now got 4 beautiful grandsons, twins Darshan and Arjun, and Kirat and Jobin.
So how do you remember them all?
How could I not? They're the love of my life. They're the ones that keep me going.
And you've been able to do all this while still doing so much in terms of your own career. It's been tough, hasn't it, balancing your career with family?
Well, it has been difficult, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, in my generation, it wasn't the norm to go out and work in certainly the banking world. And the first 20-odd years has been difficult balancing both those roles as a traditional daughter-in-law versus a very male-dominated industry. So it had its challenges mentally on me. But I'm proud to say, you know, my children drove me, my husband became an advocate, and the community started supporting me really, really a lot. And hence my father-in-law was my role model. He was my ally and supported me right through and coached me how to navigate the complex Asian community that we have and the extended family system. And it's with his drive. And at work, I had a couple of heroes who did identify something in me and helped me, whether it was Arif or Paul or Truett in the banking world. So those guys, I wouldn't have become the woman I became.
Come on, people who meet you say you're always happy. What makes you happy and what makes you angry?
Keith, I think as well, everybody from our community, certainly when you come here as an immigrant, one of the things that you have no option but to succeed, and wearing a mask is something that we get used to. And certainly, you know, wearing this mask at work is, you know, you have to show that positivity. You have to be always able and, you know, keeping your head down. But behind that mask, obviously, there are some difficulties as well. So now I'm trying to say, look, you know, it's okay not to be okay. But saying that, I'm so blessed. You know, I've got a wonderful family. I've been blessed with these grandchildren. I want to make life better for them. So I have purpose. And I think when you have purpose, whether it's the work that I do with the diversity staff or the charities, especially Alzheimer's, you know, mental health and dementia is a taboo subject in our community that we don't talk about. I really want to break those issues. So the purpose drives me, and that keeps me, I suppose, balanced. And then going home and playing with my grandchildren, you know, what more could I ask for?
Indeed. Kamal Hoti, it's been a real pleasure talking to you this morning. Thank you for breaking the glass ceiling and being a pioneer on behalf of the British Asian community.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Keith.
Kamal, I want to end this section with your choice of your favourite song. What is your favourite song and why have you chosen it?
Keith, I was really thinking about this, and there are so many songs. I love music, but I'm thinking with the lockdown, one of the things that we think about is friendship and reaching out to our loved ones. So I'd love to hear the Ye Dosti from Sholay, because I think it's such an uplifting song and it reminds us what friendship is all about.
Let's hear that now. Join me after the break.
This is
Leica Radio.
नहीं तोड़ेंगे तोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना छोड़ेंगे ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे तोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना छोड़ेंगे अरे मेरी जीत तेरी हार मेरी हार सुन ऐ मेरे यार तेरा गम मेरी खेलेंगे तेरे लिए ले लेंगे जान पे भी खेलेंगे तेरे लिए ले लेंगे सबसे दुश्मनी ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना छोड़ेंगे लोगों को आते हैं तो नजर हम अगर देखो तो नहीं अरे हो जुदा या खफा ए खुदा है दुआ ऐसा हो नहीं खाना पीना साथ है मरना जीना साथ है खाना पीना साथ है मरना जीना साथ है सारी जिंदगी ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना छोड़ेंगे ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे दम मगर
This is
Leica Radio.
Mom, have you bought some of those delicious noodles?
You mean Coca, the king of noodles? Coca means delicious. Variety of flavors available in Coca packet, Coca cup and Coca bowl noodles. Suitable for vegetarians and halal approved. The king of noodles, Coca noodles, packets, cups and bowls, now available everywhere in the UK.
Oh, I'm so worried. I bought the house, but if it doesn't rent out, what am I going to do?
Listen, relax. I've got the perfect solution for you.
I'm serious. I'm really starting to get worried now. Because of this lockdown, I'm struggling to find tenants.
Slow down, take a deep breath and listen carefully.
ZFA Group brings you guaranteed rent with 0% commission, free maintenance and 40 years of experience. We're also an approved local authority agent. Any property, any size, anywhere. To know more about guaranteed rent, call us now on 0208 514 3333 or visit our website zfagroup.com.
I've got an old phone.
I got a new phone.
But I can convert this one to cash.
How?
By going on to leicainsure.com/radio.
Wow, I better get on there too for hubby's old phone.
Money, money, money.
Money, money, money.
Visit leicainsure.com/radio.
What have you missed the most about eating out? Going out with friends and family for a quick bite? Trying somewhere new or returning to a local favourite? Someone else doing the cooking for once? Not doing the washing up? With Eat Out to Help Out, get up to £10 off per person every Monday to Wednesday throughout August. Enjoy the moments you've missed the most, and let's enjoy restaurants again safely. Visit gov.uk/eat out to find participating restaurants near you.
Finding the best rates to send money to your family and friends has never been this easy. Visit leicaremit.co.uk and register today. Leica Remit is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. T's and C's apply.
Lockdown is finishing and businesses are reopening now. During lockdown, people started to listen to radio more. Radio is the best way to let your customers know that you are open again. To win customers back is challenging, but radio can help. Call Leica Media sales team on 0207 132 1458 to make your customers aware that you are open again.
Leica Radio. This is Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. How have our pets been doing during the pandemic? Reena Patel has been a veterinary surgeon for 15 years based in North London. She is a partner with the Medivet group of practices. She wanted to be a vet from a very young age, and it's a job she feels passionate about. She joins me this morning from St Albans. Good morning, Reena.
Good morning, Keith. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Now, it's now clear that animals cannot pass on COVID-19. Has this generally been a very busy period for you?
We have been inundated with patients actually during COVID. Unlike many other businesses, we've been very, very busy looking after patients, animals, people at home at the moment, spending more time with their animals and noticing things. And of course, we've been, as key workers, available to our customers. This certainly has been a very busy period for veterinary surgeons across the UK.
Many have suggested that pets are actually having the time of their lives. My little cockapoo, Coco, is having a great time because we're all here playing with her and looking after her every day. What's going to happen when the owners get back to work? There's a lot of people saying that our pets are going to become very depressed.
Well, I can definitely agree with you, Keith, that lots of pets are enjoying, like your Coco, having their families around all the time. Pets are creatures they love the company, the human company. What's going to happen when everyone goes back to work is still, yet to see. We hope that we don't deal with lots of animals with emotional situations because they're now left alone, having been used to having everyone being around. But time will tell. The animals are incredibly adaptable, so they have got that on their side.
Now, you deal with all kinds of animals, not just dogs, but also pussycats and rabbits and everything.
Sure.
Do you see any differences between the various animals as to how they cope with having owners at home? Any getting irritated with the owners?
Yes, that's a really interesting question. I was about to say, actually, whilst we were talking about the animals enjoying their human company, a lot of dogs, for example, are used to having sort of downtime when the owners go out to work, and actually having a busy household disrupts their nap time, and particularly cats. We know they love naps. So I think there's a balance between animals who are enjoying the human company, but certainly having their routine put out of sync can be a little bit disrupting for them. Dogs probably find it less so, but cats and rabbits in particular, are essentially prey animals and don't necessarily want too much human company in many situations. So this might be a bit of a change for them.
Now, the cost of pets, we understand, has gone up with some breeds of dogs doubling in price. Have you seen this for yourself? And do you think that this will change?
I think that we have certainly seen an incredible increase in the number of people getting puppies over the period of lockdown. I guess a lot of people felt that this was a really good time to have a puppy in the house because they'll have the time to give to the puppy. Of course, people selling puppies have recognised the increase in demand, and there has been an appreciable increase in the cost of certain breeds, or many breeds in fact, where the demand has increased for purchase of puppies.
What's your advice to pet owners at this time as we have finished lockdown and people are getting out and about? What's your advice to?
So my advice would always be just carry on doing your best at being the best and most responsible pet owner as you can be. As things change and we return to some level of normality, making sure you've still got time to walk your dog and give your cat the comfort it needs in a very similar way to you were doing before lockdown. We know that we've had a pretty big change during these last few months, and the return to normality will be the same for the animals. They will need that as well, and just carry on being as responsible as you can as a pet owner.
Reena Patel, thank you so much for joining us. We won't keep you away from your Noah's Ark much longer, but we hope that we'll talk to you again later in the year. Thank you, Reena.
Thank you so much, Keith.
This is Leica Radio.
बॉयलर को लेके कंफ्यूजन? न्यूमैन हीटिंग की धमाकेदार ऑफर याद रखिए. बूस्टर कॉम्बी 2000 सीरियल 30 किलोवाट including magnet clear wireless room stand, supply and fitting from expert gas register only from £1,650. Call now 0203 667 3806. That's 0203 667 3806.
22 कैरेट गोल्ड ज्वेलरी के लिए आइए वसीम ज्वेलर्स. Bespoke bridal jewelry, modern and traditional designs, top quality gold and diamond jewelry. Wasim Jewelers of Southall. Call 020-8571-1193.
Announcing an advertising breakthrough where your message will reach the nation at the speed of sound. Okay, look, it's radio advertising. And because it's so simple to make, you can write your brilliant ad today and be on air tomorrow. And don't worry, you can still sound fancy. See radio differently at radiocentre.org.
Fantastic offer. Get unlimited 4G data, UK minutes and UK texts for just £19 for 30 days. That's unlimited 4G data, UK minutes and UK texts for just £19 for 30 days. This offer is available for new and existing customers when you buy online. Unlimited plan means unlimited family time. Visit likeamobile.co.uk/unlimited for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Leica Mobile.
August is a month to eat out. Come to Dilli Darbar Restaurant and Banqueting, South Harrow, to enjoy Mughlai dishes in Shahi Andaz. Monday to Wednesday, 50% off and 25% off from Thursday to Sunday through August to dine in or delivery. Visit Dilli Darbar Restaurant, 56 to 60 Northolt Road, South Harrow, or order online to dillidarbar.com.
Leica Radio. Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Finally, let's find out what's the score on immigration cases where I understand there is a pretty long backlog. Let's talk to Nisham Paramjyothi, who is a barrister specialising in immigration and human rights law and appears regularly before the immigration tribunals, the Administrative Court and the Court of Appeal, where he is viewed as a powerful and compelling advocate. He recently appealed successfully to the Supreme Court against the deportation of a group of Sri Lankan nationals. He joins me this morning from Hertfordshire. Good morning, Nishan.
Good morning, Keith.
How clogged are the immigration courts?
The last update that I had from an immigration judge, which was as recent as last week, was that there are circa 2,500 to 3,000 appeals that have essentially been put into a backlog as a result of the COVID pandemic. It's really due to the closure of the courts since the 23rd of March that remains a problem. And when I say closure, I mean in respect of face-to-face appeals.
How are these cases actually being conducted? Say you applied to bring your wife in and was turned down and you're waiting for appeal from Karachi. Do you turn up at court? Is it done by video? What's happening with these cases?
Well, the courts, the immigration tribunals, Keith, closed for face-to-face hearings circa the third week of March. They've yet to reopen for face-to-face hearings yet across the country. Tribunal judges are doing their level best to screen cases to see which are suitable to be conducted on the papers, those that are suitable for what is known as CVP, which is a cloud video platform, and those which could be suitable for telephone hearing. If any of those three portals are suitable for an appeal, they invariably are being listed, but they're not really being listed for hearings until September, October, November, and into December. That means face-to-face hearings really are being listed after these hearings have taken place. And I'm told if, for example, Hatton Cross Immigration Tribunal Hearing Centre, which is very close to Heathrow Airport, there are normally 20 hearing rooms and they hear, let's say, 3 to 4 cases a day.
Yes.
I understand there are only going to be 3 courts open and there's going to be less, perhaps around 2 or 3 cases per day in each of those 3 or 4 courts. So if you're applying, Keith, as you say, using Karachi as an example, if you're applying to join your spouse and you've been refused your appeal during the pandemic, it's highly unlikely that you're going to see an appeal for at least 6 to 12 months, and that's being optimistic.
Now, I assume that visitors can still apply to come to this country. Obviously, there's the quarantine arrangements that the government has put in place. Are the global centres open? Can you go in and give your biometrics and apply to come as a visitor and visit the UK? Or has that now stopped? And what about for spouses? Are you still able to make an application? And what's the kind of delay in processing those cases?
You can still make applications. Those applications are done online. Your problem thereafter is trying to secure an appointment at the global centres to submit your biometrics, an essential prerequisite, if you like, an important administrative part of that application process is the submission of biometrics. Many of these global visa centres remain closed. Some have just reopened, but it's phenomenally difficult to secure appointments. And then the decision-making process, particularly for spouse application, that process is taking much, much longer. So it is the uncertainty that is causing widespread anxiety, not just here in the UK, for those who are awaiting decision, but particularly for those who are applying from overseas.
That sounds like a very sad scenario for people and very worrying that all this is taking so long. But we're very grateful, Nishan, to you for joining us this morning, and we hope we can talk to you again quite soon.
Complete pleasure.
This is Leica Radio.
Time's up for this week. Please stay tuned for Sonia, who will be bringing us a wonderful show, hosting Bollywood hits after the news. My thanks to my guests Kamal Hoti, OBE, Nishan Paramjoti, Reena Patel and Chanda Vyas for choosing our songs. Chanda reminded me that this week we celebrated Raksha Bandhan, so if your brother or sister is near you this morning, give them a hug. As usual, respect the Leica team, station manager Sunil, producer Rupi and my editor Adam. Do follow us on social media. We have a Facebook page, Talking Points, and we are on Twitter at Talking Points 20 and on Instagram at talking_points.LeicaRadio. This has been Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio 1458. Thank you for tuning in. I know that you have a choice, so thank you for spending a bit of your Sunday morning with me. Stay safe and have a great Sunday. My final song this week is a Goan melody. It's all about your prospective fathers-in-law and how it's good advice to keep them close to you. Signing off with Maria Pita Che by Remos Fernandez.
Oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, hey, oh Maria Pitache, hey, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, hey, oh Maria Pitache. Oh, yeah. Barra da tamão me luzi, estreite comprir. Barra da tamão me luzi, estreite comprir. Alegre na entrada, me luzi, triste na saída. Alegre na entrada, me luzi, triste na saída. Hey! Por amor da voz, me luzi, eu fico saudade. Por amor da voz, me luzi, eu fico saudade. Fazer a sentinela, me luzi, levar chicotada. Fazer a sentinela, me luzi, levar chicotada. Oh Maria Pitache, 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 oh Maria Pitache. Anda Maria dança. Rapariga vem me luzi, não se pode nascer. Rapariga vem me luzi, não se pode nascer. Como a pera verde me luzi, não se pode comer. Como a pera verde me luzi, não se pode comer. Ai luzi, luzi, me luzi, não cuspi no chão. Ai luzi, luzi, me luzi, não cuspi no chão. Cuspir no meu peito, me luzi, rega e coração. Cuspir no meu peito, me luzi, rega e coração. Ai Maria Pitache, oh 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 Maria Pitache. Shabada bip na bam ba ba bip bam da baimo. Yabada bum da bum da bum da bum da bim da boyo. Shabada bum bum bim da bum bum da bum da bum da boyo. Shabada bum da bum da bum da bum da ya bam da bam da. Oh Maria Pitache, 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 oh Maria Pitache. Maria Pitache, oh 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 Maria Pitache. Voices Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache. Everybody, Maria Pitache, oh 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 Maria Pitache. Oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache. Last time, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache, oh Maria Pitache.
ठंडा कुछ नहीं, सब गर्म ही गर्म है, अंगार है।
2x4 2 से 4 है। करोड़ी साइफर भाई।
खड़ा हूँ कैसे मैं यहाँ पे अब ना पूछना, दर्द शायरी में तुझको चाहिए सबूत क्या, शिखर ये सोच पर जुड़ा हूँ मैं जमीन से, यकीन तुमको ना पर आगे आया मैं यकीन से, लाख नफरतें हो साथ माँ का प्यार है, हंसी है उसकी जीत मेरी कैसे जाऊँ हार में, काट लो जुबां आंसुओं से गाऊंगा, गाड़ दो बीज हूँ मैं पेड़ बन ही जाऊंगा, दिल था टूटा तब हिप हॉप मेरे साथ था, उजाले मिलने में मुझे हर रात का ही हाथ था, कलाकार में कल को आकार दूं यही है मेरा धर्म, मेरी दूसरी कोई जात ना, माँ है रब मेरी गली ये मेरी माशुका, लड़का एड़ा मैं झुकाने पर भी ना झुका, सुन रहे जो मुझको बेशुमार प्यार है उनसे, बनाता गीत में पर मैं खुद बना हूँ तुमसे, गौर कर लो मेरी बातों पे तुम ध्यान दो।
On 1458 in London.
On your mobile.
And on DAB Digital Radio.
This is Leica Radio.